Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday in the Word. Today we look in the book of Esther in chapter 3 and verses 5 and 6. I want to introduce you to a couple of heroes of the faith in the Old Testament that God shared with us. One, Mordecai, and two, his niece, Esther. In this book, in this very special book, one of the peculiarities about this book is that the name of God is never mentioned in the book of Esther, but that the hand of God is very visible as we read the book and we see what God is doing. So let me share with you these verses. Book of Esther, chapter 3, verse 5. When Haman saw that Mordecai did not bow or pay him homage, Haman was filled with wrath. He disdained to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had told him of the people of Mordecai. And instead, Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, the people of Mordecai. Well, Haman, of course, is the enemy in this passage. He was a man who hated the Jews and sought to bring about a time of genocide and killing and murdering of the Jews under the rule of Ahasuerus. But again, this God who's not ever mentioned in the book, we can see him working behind the scenes. For you see, the book begins with the crowning of a new queen named Esther. She was a relative of Mordecai. She was put there in that position as queen so that God could protect his children. You see, Satan always raises up enemies against his people. And today in your life you may be struggling against those enemies, and sometimes we put faces on those enemies, but let me say this to you, that Paul reminds us we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We've got bigger enemies than that. So what do we do? The great thing about this book is it reminds us that before the enemy ever came up with the plan to destroy us, God came up with a plan to save us. When Haman brought his plan forth, Ahasuerus signed on to the murder of the Jews, not thinking about the repercussions of it. Mordecai sent a message to Esther. And he said, "Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish, and who knows but that you have come to such a royal position for such a time as this." God knew this was coming. You are plan A. Follow him. Walk with him. Be faithful to him. Do what you can to save your people. If you don't, I trust in God, Mordecai said, that he's got another plan and another person to use. What does this say to us? Well, it gives us great hope that these children of Israel, still held captive in a foreign land, God never forgot about them. Even though they were not near the temple, even though they were not where they should be or really wanted to be, God loved his people. Solomon had prayed at the temple, at the dedication of the great temple he built. May the Lord our God be with us as he was with our ancestors. May he never leave us or forsake us. Your God is that kind of God. He's got a plan. Satan comes up with his plans. He's got enemies to destroy you. But I want you to know that God has already made a plan to save you. Would you bow your head and just say, "Thank you, Lord, that today you remember me, no matter how many enemies stand up against me." God bless you. Have a great week.